Well, now the person you've all been waiting to meet. How can we begin to thank someone who made all of our dreams come true? Over the years, Trinity had so many dreams, but the resources always came up short. Virginia Woolf decried this phenomenon in her book called A Room of One's Own, when she described the great men's schools as places with streets paved with gold, while at the women's colleges, the amenities would have to wait. Joan Payden is an extraordinary woman of vision and commitment who refuses to accept the idea that we, women, have to settle for less. Instead, she's made it her business, professionally and personally, to strive to achieve the best possible results for her clients, for her community, and for her alma mater. Over the years, we've had many occasions to discuss Trinity's needs, and in each conversation, I left with encouragement and exhortation ringing in my ears. Do better. You can reach higher. Don't just settle. Get more. When Joan called me in the summer of 2013 to say she would make the amazing gift to launch the new academic center, it was a dream come true, not just for me, but for generations at Trinity who will reap the benefits of this magnificent generosity. Typical of Joan, when we talked about naming the building, she demurred about having it named for herself, but she finally agreed it would be fitting to recognize the Payden family by naming the new building the Payden Academic Center. And we're so pleased that members of the Payden family could be with us today. Aaron Ken Fink and Molly Fink and all the members of the family, welcome as well. I would also like to note, before inviting Joan to come up, that Joan has also endowed a beautiful scholarship for a nursing student in honor of her cousin, Aaron Ken Fink. And I'm pleased to say that the new Aaron Ken Fink scholar, Shirley Salazar, is with us today. Shirley Salazar is our new Fink scholar, a junior in our nursing program. So thank you for that great generosity. And now, please join me in welcoming and thanking Joan Payden.
Thank you, Pat. I'm not so sure about the Joan Center now. Just a few words here. Your Eminence, the mayor, councilman, the board, who have I? The students, graduates, and friends. We're here today, as we all know, to celebrate a milestone. And when you think of it, for 120 years, Trinity has been part of the fabric of Washington, D.C. But you know, recently, in the last 10 years, I've come back a number of occasions, and that fabric has grown. And the administration, the mayors, the councilmen, the association has been wonderful. And I feel very privileged to meet your new mayor. And, you know, my remarks will be very brief. But the two words that really hit me are passion and commitment. I use them a lot. And as you can imagine, in my life and also in my professional life, people will always ask me, what makes success? What do you look for in people that you hire? You know, what is their education, their IQ? And I said there's only two words as far as I'm concerned, and that's passion and commitment. And when you think about back in the 20th century, in the 1890s, the Sisters of Notre Dame coming over here, and the passion and the commitment they had to start this institution. I know Pat made some remarks about the difficulties they had. And you know, women's education was certainly not high on this ladder at that time. But we wouldn't be here today without that passion and commitment. And you know, going through the last 50 years, in the 90s, higher education for women's colleges really stumbled, and it was a time when you had to use that passion and commitment. And that's when Pat McGuire came along. And I just can't say enough. There are many, many people why we're standing here today. But it was the leadership that's why we are here today. And I thought I also might mention that last year I was in New York on some business, and I opened up the New York Times, and there it was a whole page. The Carnegie Foundation, every 2 years, selects 4 universities to be honored. Their presidents, what they have done, their leadership, and in higher education. And I opened it up, and I kind of looked at it, and there was a university, a very large university from California, USC, and its new president. There was University of Texas, and there was, and there in the bottom was Trinity. And I can't tell you how excited I was. And I thought, well, we certainly have believers nowadays. But I think that was another milestone, having the name out there. So that today, that's really the end of my remarks. But let me tell you, this passion and commitment, you have to have continuity. And we've really just started, and I'm a small piece in this puzzle. But as Pat said, I lived on 4th North, and it needed help then. And I can't imagine what it needs today. But thank you all so very much. And, I think the next 5 to 10 years can be just great. And I've met some of the students here, my friend there that was my escort here, and it's very exciting. Thank you again.